Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is continuing the bull run here on the larger time frames, as the price of Bitcoin is now basically finishing this short-term bearish divergence, about to start the next leg to the upside, as another short squeeze is possibly building for the price of Bitcoin, while the next altcoin season is fastly approaching, which I'll talk about in just a moment, while Ethereum is still struggling from this area of resistance, while Solana is still holding above this important area on the price chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now we're still clearly looking bullish on the larger time frames, because right now the price of Bitcoin is still clearly in a bull run on the larger time frames, playing out this huge bull market signal, which I've been talking about for a long time now on the channel. And in case you're new to this channel, the last couple of times this signal has confirmed over the last 4 to 5 years or so. Both of these previous times we've seen huge bull markets, bull runs in the price of Bitcoin that lasted over the next few months, nearly the next 1 year approximately from when that signal confirmed. And this signal just recently confirmed around a month ago, give or take. And so it's only been around 1 to 2 months since this signal confirmed, which means we're still due to see many months worth of a bull market from right now. So once again, on the larger time frames, we're still looking very bullish. And if we're staying on the weekly Bitcoin chart, looking at this weekly Bitcoin MACD, we're still seeing a lot of bullish momentum here on the larger time frames, as we can see. And the last time we saw a crossover in the MACD from bearish to bullish on the weekly time frame was about a year ago, around October 2023. And what came next was a huge bull run in the price of Bitcoin over the next half a year approximately. And once again, it's only been roughly around 1 month from when this signal confirmed. So we're still due to see a major bull run for many months from now. So despite what happens on small time frames, whether we see a slight little pullback here and there in the short term, that's perfectly normal to see. But ultimately, when we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, we're still looking very, very bullish right now. And if we're taking a look at this 4-day Bitcoin chart, right now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish market. So this is yet another bullish indication for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin chart, obviously, like I said in my last video, we confirmed a 3-day candle close above this 1618 Fibonacci extension, which was sitting at approximately 89,000. And as of right now, we're still holding above 89,000, which is bullish. And the next major Fibonacci extension, at least on this chart right here, is the 2618 Fibonacci extension, sitting at around $113,000. So that is the next major price target. But before 113,000, we also have this Fibonacci extension, which is the 1618 Fibonacci extension. So basically this extension right here, but this is actually on the logarithmic settings rather than the linear settings. And on this logarithmic chart, the logarithmic settings, the 1618 Fibonacci extension is sitting at around 94 to 95,000, which means we could potentially find some resistance at around 94 to 95,000 just in the short term here. But ultimately, if we can break out above 94 to 95,000, then it's extremely likely that would quickly head beyond $100,000 once we can break out above this level. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we also have this 1618 Fibonacci extension based on a Fibonacci retracement tool drawn from the previous bull market top of 69,000 down to the bear market bottom. And that places the 1618 Fibonacci extension on the linear settings at around $102,000. And so in other words, just to summarize this portion of the video, we have that possible point of resistance and short-term price target at around 94 to 95,000. But if we can confirm a breakout above 95K, then we're likely heading up towards around 102,000. And then around that level, we could find a bit of short-term resistance. But beyond 102,000, then we'll likely be heading up towards around 113,000. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, we can see just recently we have confirmed an invalidation signal for this previous short-term bearish divergence, now that we're starting to see a bit of a breakout here in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI. And not only are we breaking out above this descending line of resistance, we're also starting to see higher lows and higher highs again in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI. And like I said in my last video here on the channel, this is a signal telling us that we're basically ending this short-term bearish divergence. So it already perfectly played out over around 1 to 2 days, because obviously it's just a short-term signal. And the last time we confirmed a bearish divergence on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart was back here roughly around a week ago. And what came next was a bit of a slowdown for around 1 to 2 days in the price of Bitcoin, very similar to what we saw just here, before eventually we continued the larger bull market later on. And we're potentially about to see that next leg to the upside very soon if history repeats. And just before talking about another short squeeze that could be coming soon, and also the upcoming altcoin season, first, if you actually want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, there's Bitfinex, which right now has a 5.5k deposit bonus if you use the first link down below this video over to Bitfinex. And if you use that link, you get this deposit bonus, and only if you use that link, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever, but that's only if you use the link below this video to make your Bitfinex account. And also, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means it doesn't matter what country you're from. You could be from the US or the UK, for example, and you can access Bitfinex, unlike some other exchanges out there. And also, a lot of the top altcoins and meme coins are listed over on Bitfinex. So if you want to trade all of those cryptos, once again, check out the link down below this video to get an exclusive discount on all those trading fees and also this deposit bonus. And as another exchange out there, if you don't mind KYC, there is also Bybit, which is one of the top exchanges out there for trading crypto. And if you use the link below this video to Bybit, you can get a 500 USDT position airdrop, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. So once again, if you want to get these extra bonuses and discount on trading fees, check out those links down below this video to Bitfinex or Bybit. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we have a lot of liquidity starting to build to the upside in between around 92,500 to 93,000 approximately, and we have a lot more liquidity at around 93,500 all the way up towards around 95,000. So basically, in case you're new to all of this, if the Bitcoin price breaks out above some of these levels right here, that would mean a bunch of short positions will get liquidated, because this little move right here from that short-term bearish divergence was likely just a bear trap, basically trapping the bears out there in this little move right here. So in other words, basically opening short positions in this pullback during a bull market, which obviously is a bad move during a bull market, trying to short Bitcoin. It can be done, but it's very, very risky. And so ultimately, a lot of those shorts that opened up during this little pullback right here over the last few days, they will get wiped out of the market once we break out above these liquidation levels on this chart right here. And if that actually happens, if we break out above around 94 to 95,000, especially breaking out above that previous Fibonacci level, which I talked about just earlier, then in that case, that would likely trigger a short squeeze, which will push the price of Bitcoin closer towards $100,000 very, very quickly once we can finally see a breakout above around 94 to 95,000 especially. And as for liquidity to the downside, we don't really have a lot of liquidity immediately to the downside until we get all the way down towards around 86,500. We do have a bit of liquidity around there and a little bit more liquidity at around 85,000. But with that being said, obviously, most of the liquidity that's close to the current price is to the upside. And just before getting into Ethereum and Solana, first taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly time frame, because this chart right here kind of tells us if we're in a bit of a Bitcoin season or an altcoin season. So in other words, if Bitcoin is outperforming a lot of the crypto market, or if altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. And right now, and over the last 1 to 2 years here, we have been in a major Bitcoin season. Now, it's important to understand, even though the Bitcoin dominance has been going to the upside, of course, there are some altcoins out there that can still outperform Bitcoin even while the Bitcoin dominance goes to the upside. It's just usually it's hard to pick altcoins, especially a lot of altcoins, to outperform Bitcoin during these seasons in the market. But on the other hand, when we see a huge drop off in the Bitcoin dominance, like what we saw in the first half of 2021 and during 2017, in those periods in the market, those are also known as altcoin seasons, when we see a lot of altcoins massively outperform Bitcoin. It's actually very, very easy to make a lot of quick and easy money in these periods in the market, in altcoins and meme coins and things like that, when we see these huge crashes in the Bitcoin dominance. And now, once again, of course, there's some altcoins out there at the moment that are going up quite a lot, especially with the election. Some altcoins like XRP, Cardano, that were previously labeled as securities by the SEC, but due to the election and Gary Gensler potentially getting fired with Trump in charge, of course, some of those altcoins are going up quite a lot, but we haven't yet seen a true altcoin season, at least based on the Bitcoin dominance. So this is still yet to come. And if we're simply looking at the seasonality of these altcoin seasons, when we're looking at the significant altcoin seasons, the massive drop-offs in the Bitcoin dominance, not just the little short-term pullbacks that we see here and there in the Bitcoin dominance, we've basically had two other examples of these significant altcoin seasons, one during 2021 and one during 2017. And so these massive altcoin seasons happen in the year after the Bitcoin halving, and usually around 1 to 2 months. They start around 2 months or so after the US elections. And so if we're looking at this first example, going all the way back to 2016 on this Bitcoin dominance chart, we have the 2016 Bitcoin halving. So the white lines right here, the Bitcoin halvings, and the red lines are the US presidential elections. So we saw the 2016 Bitcoin halving, and then between the halving and the election, not much changed in the Bitcoin dominance. But then roughly around 1 to 2 months after the US election, so basically near the beginning of 2017, we started to see a huge drop off in the Bitcoin dominance, which was the beginning of that massive altcoin season. And then if we're simply looking at the next example, we saw the 2020 Bitcoin halving around May 2020, and then we saw the 2020 US election. And during the halving in the election, we saw a bit of a drop off and then a bit of a rebound. And then what came next after the election, we actually saw a continued pump in the Bitcoin dominance for the next 1 month approximately. And then right at the beginning, pretty much at the start of January 2021, right at the beginning of the next year, the new year, we saw a huge drop off begin in the Bitcoin dominance, which was the beginning of that massive altcoin season at the beginning of the new year. And so if history simply repeats, if we can simply just go off these two previous examples, then we do just see potentially a little bit more of an increase in the Bitcoin dominance, maybe over the next month or so. But then as we're getting closer towards the end of this year and the very beginning of next year, we're likely going to see the beginning of the next major altcoin season, which could potentially last for, let's just say, the first half of next year. The first half of 2025 will likely be a major altcoin season if we're simply just basing things off these previous examples. And so let me know in the comment section down below some of your favorite altcoins and even some meme coins that you want to see here on this channel. If you want me to analyze those coins, let me know in the comment section down below. And as we're getting closer to that next major altcoin season, I'll potentially start talking about more altcoins, especially once that altcoin season actually begins. And so once again, it might still be a couple of weeks away, maybe even 1 to 2 months away, but either way, we're getting very close to that next major altcoin season, which will likely happen basically at the beginning of next year. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, here on the larger time frames, the price of ETH is still clearly looking bullish right now, playing out bullish price structure, forming significant higher lows and higher highs, and still bouncing from this huge line of support, which is sitting at around 2.4k. So not much has changed here on the weekly time frame. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, right now the price of ETH is still finding some resistance at this Fibonacci level, sitting at around 3.2k approximately. So right now that is still acting as some strong resistance, but if we can see a confirmed breakout above 3.2k, then in that case the next resistance to watch out for is close to 3,500, and above that we have more resistance in between around 3.9k to 4k. And if we're taking a look at this daily time frame, of course over the last 1 week approximately, the price came up towards this area of resistance and then perfectly rejected from this area of resistance as expected, and this area is sitting in between around 3430 to 3560 approximately. So that is still acting as strong resistance as of right now, which means the price is likely going to struggle in that area. But ultimately, if we could see a breakout above around 3560, then in that case it would likely head up towards around 3.9k to 4k. And as for short-term support, we do have some support at just above $3,000, and we've pretty much bounced from just above $3,000 just recently. So that is the support to pay attention to. But if we were to see a confirmed break back below around 3,000, in that case, we also have this area of support in between 2.7k to 2.8k. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 2-hour Ethereum chart, right now the price of ETH has almost invalidated this head and shoulders pattern because we've almost seen a breakout back above this neckline, but not just yet. So this neckline is sitting at approximately 3160 to 3170 as of right now, if you are to extend the neckline right that. So obviously, as of recording this video, we're just one little pump away from potentially invalidating this head and shoulders pattern, which would invalidate this bearish price target. So keep in mind, as I always say, even if we have these bearish price targets in play or bullish price targets in play, we cannot ignore support or resistance. So in this case, with a bearish price target, we cannot ignore support. The price can still bounce at these levels of support, like just above $3,000, just like how during a pump to the upside, let's just say if we have a bullish price target, we cannot ignore resistance. The price can still run into resistance, even if we have a bullish price target. And so essentially, if we can see a breakout back above this neckline right here, then it's very likely that in the coming days or weeks, we'll come back up for another retest, another attempt of this area of resistance. And then once again, eventually, when we can finally break out above this area, we're likely heading up to the very high 3K price range, like 3.9K and close to 4K. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at Solana on the weekly time frame, right now the price of Solana is continuing this breakout above around 205, which is a level basically in between this previous area of resistance, now acting as new support, and that's sitting in between $200 to $210. So once again, 200 to 210 is acting as strong support right now, which means there's a lot of buyers in that price range buying up Solana, and this has been perfectly playing out as support over the last 1 week approximately. And like I said in my last video, it's very likely that the price of Solana will kind of just hover above this area for potentially a couple of days here, as we have lost a little bit of bullish momentum just in the immediate short term. Basically, we're just cooling off during the larger bull run, but ultimately when we're zooming out, we're still looking very bullish on the larger time frames, and the next significant area of resistance above the current price is that all-time high level close to 260. So as we approach around 250 to 260, we're likely going to find resistance around there. But if we can finally break out above 260, then obviously we'll be heading into all-time highs, and we can see what happened to Bitcoin when it broke its all-time high. We absolutely exploded to the upside, so that will likely be coming next for Solana, especially if we can break out above 260. And once again, altcoins like Ethereum and Solana are kind of lagging Bitcoin at the moment, especially with that major breakout above the all-time high for Bitcoin. Obviously, Ethereum and Solana have not yet broken out above their all-time highs, but once we finally see that huge altcoin season, which could start at basically any moment now and any moment likely in the next 1 or 2 months or so, once we see that huge altcoin season begin, then we'll likely see a lot of major altcoins start breaking out above their all-time highs, and obviously some are already pretty much getting there, especially newer altcoins. And so in order to prepare for that coming altcoin season, which will have a lot of opportunity to make a lot of quick and easy money in crypto, make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And definitely check out the exchanges links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses and get set up ready to go to trade this crypto market. And also, if you want to know how to trade crypto, no matter if the prices are going in the bullish direction, the bearish direction, or just chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.